This video might be the reason Paul McBeth wins Worlds next year, because today we gotta talk about how the GOAT of the game disappointed disc golf fans in 2024. What's up, disgenerates? I'm Jefferson, half of the disc golf world, breaking down McBeth's season to see if the McWash name holds true. Shout out to all the Patreon members for the continued support. Make sure to check out the link in the description for more off-season disc golf content. All throughout the season, I swear I saw hundreds of "this is the end of Paul McBeth," and as a recovering fanboy, it's kind of pissed me off. Because the dude is literally 6th in the world rankings, and people are out here saying he'll never win again. 2024 was the first time in 13 years McBeth didn't get a win on tour, so betting him never getting a win ever again sounds absolutely absurd. Let's not forget he's also recovering from an injury, admitting that a disc in his hand felt foreign up until the Music City Open. There was another big thing going on in Paul's life that probably was taking more time away than usual as well. That being Pablo. Of course, I'm not saying the reason he didn't get a win was having a child, but what about reaching his lowest rating since 2012? Or losing the all-time cash to rival Ricky Wysocki? With all that being said, we gotta recap McBeth's 2024 season to see if the end of the era is truly over as they say, and why some McBeast fans were left disappointed. Kicking off the year at his newly bought course, the dgpt prepped Olympus. Hopes were high, but those fell flat after an even par round 1, only 6 back of the leader. He did jump up 14 spots after a 3 down, hopefully knocking off the rest of the rust, but would fall back 31 spots with a 4 over final round. Missing cash for the first time since the 2022 DDO. Unfortunately this time, he wouldn't follow that up with a Worlds win. Instead, would go back-to-back tournaments missing cash for the first time ever in his professional career, which is just insane to think. And all they had to do was add a golf course to Waco. Apparently that 18 down still haunts him. Just like when I'm putting, third time's a charm, as McBeth took cash with the 22nd at the Open at Austin. Still not what he wanted, but things were definitely turning around. Finally on the come-up. And then he missed cash at Jonesboro. 3 out of the first 4 events, Paul didn't make the money. At this point, the red alarms were going off in the heads of everyone still rocking the Signature Series crate. But remember when I said MCO was the event that Paul felt better at? Even if Simon won comfortably, we got a glimpse of the McBeth we all wanted. Followed it up with a 10th in the tight woods at the first major of the season, 27th at DDO, 18th at the OTB Open, and then back in the top 10 with the 7th at Portland. But then he would slip from there with a 43rd at the Beaver State Fling, and then would shoot his lowest rated round in recent history with a 971. Wouldn't be able to come back into the cash from there for the 4th time this season and a new career high. Now that the haters were at their loudest, Paul does what he does. Took a 2nd at the Swedish Open, 6th at Krokle, and 3rd at the European Open. Maybe there's a reason he goes to Europe so much. Gave us a flash from the past with a battle with Ricky at the end of the festival, only to take another 2nd place. To all you saying he can't win, no, this is where Worlds is going to be. Maybe not the exact same course, but still, to say he'll never win again sounds pretty stupid. Not saying he's the same McBeast we've seen from the past, but being this year, Paul would take his worst finish at a World Championships in over a decade, I think he's going to go out swinging next season. Would then get a 12th at D-Glow, 7th at GMC, and his 4th 2nd place of the year. So again, for all you thinking will never get another win, I'll give you one more chance to take that back before I call you a dumbass. Being the 6th best disc golfer in the world while coming off injuries and a child, I think he'll be just fine. That being said, the era of McBeth dominance is officially over, which is not a bad thing, by the way. I know there's plenty of fans that want to continue living in the past, wishing more Wysocki battles, but it's time to move on. I would say like your ex-girlfriend, but I know disc golfers don't talk to women. It makes sense when you think about the slight decline of Paul, and it's from many different factors. I'll get the most obvious out the way, that being he's getting older. Not to say that means you can't win, but being 34, life's probably a bit different than living on a minivan when you're in your 20s grinding more than ever. To me, that's the biggest thing holding McBeth back, and I say that very loosely. The reason I was such a big fan of Paul early on was because it was clear to me he put more work than literally anybody else. As life goes on, priorities change, and he can no longer run on a treadmill wearing 50 shirts while he practices warm butts. Naturally, when responsibilities start popping up more frequently, the first thing to cut back on is practice, especially when that was your sole focus for so long. Now he has a family to take care of, a brand he's resurrecting, continuing to push disc golf to undeserved areas, and designing top courses in the world. Who has that much extra stuff going on at the same time of trying to prove you're the GOAT? Not only that, but again, McBeth was battling injuries since the start of the year. He wasn't even originally supposed to play chess, but shot those damn stem cells to play on his property. Didn't turn out great, but hey, he was there. Seems bad to lump in having a baby with an injury, but having to take care of a human being probably adds similar restrictions. Maybe not though, but I'm 23 and that shit scares the hell out of me, so I'm cutting the man some slack. I waited until now to bring up probably the biggest factor on why we're seeing this decline for McBeth. That being the strength of the entire field. Without a doubt, the skill of disc golfers has increased significantly, as well as the number of great players finding themselves on tour. No longer are we in the days less than 10,000 rated players are at majors. Now every win is legit, unless it's in Europe apparently. Sorry, essay. Play-wise, some disc golf fans might be left disappointed. Rightfully so. No disrespect to Paul either, but he'll always be the golden boy of the sport, and most felt some type of way when he didn't get that win. My stomach still feels weird every time I say it. But with that, everything McBeth did off the course was 100 times better than some Pro Tour event. For starters, what has been done with the foundation is unmatched by literally any other efforts in the sport. Putting actual baskets in the ground of countries that never had them before, and frisbees in the hands to people that never had access. In my opinion, this is the best way to grow disc golf. Not through the professional side, but putting discs in hands. How is someone going to fall in love with this awesome hobby if they didn't have a way? Just this year, having 6 projects across the world with the sole purpose of building popularity is pretty awesome. What's the next step once you have people invested? Just as Sacco mentions, put out some fire merch. The type that looks like the classic clip art copy and paste on a Gildan t-shirt that'll shrink after the first wash. So instead of that classic disc golf apparel, Paul decided to bring back the Hypebeast brand with Dylan Cease. If you've been around disc golf for a while, you might be aware of Supreme Flight. If not, it's one of the few stylish clothing brands. Granted, looks like it got ate up by Ledgestone, which is not my favorite. That's not the only thing keeping Paul's time either, when he's been designing amazing courses across the country. We saw the improvements on Olympus already, and I can't wait until the public really sees Cactus Rock. For real will be a top course in just a few years. Just wait. And now he's taking it upon himself to help the redesign of New London. As you can tell, the time where Paul can dedicate all of it to practicing disc golf is no longer there. But also, what he's doing will leave a way bigger impact for the future. Some might be disappointed in how he played, but the true Paul McBeth fans are just as happy seeing the success as he does on the course. But let's be real, if you don't think he comes back with a vengeance, you don't know McBeth. Drop in the comments how you'll think he'll bounce back in 2025, or will it be a bust? Personally, I've learned that you don't vote against Paul, but we'll just have to wait and see. Oh, and Paul, if you somehow didn't click off the video by now, trust me, I've always been a fanboy. I was not trying to talk any shit. See, here's me in 2021 in Swiss talking about if you were the GOAT.
And McBeth was able to push and show consistent rounds the entire time, and I've seen him do that every single tournament, and I still have a hard time saying that McBeth's not the #1 disc golfer.
Yeah, man, especially when he's making putts that he does, man. He's the only guy where you walk up and you can't see him pictured because he's in the woods, and you're like, yeah, he's gonna pull out that, he's gonna make that.